was always the Jags.
Always the Jags.
It's always the Jags.
Always the Jags.
Welcome back into Always the Jags. It's your host, King Whale, your number one podcast for everything Jacksonville, everything Jaguars, everything Duval. So last time I talked about our free agency moves. Now I kind of want to talk about how other teams' free agency moves are potentially going to affect us, particularly in the AFC South and, other people that are kind of vying for the same draft pick. So we'll mainly start in the AFC South because that kind of affects us more, like with quarterbacks that went where, stuff like that. So mainly, I think the Jaguars have a very good reason to be happy with the free agency moves of all the players, of all of our rivals, right? Like the Tennessee Titans just signed Dan Moore to a $20 million plus year contract to play tackle for them. The man gave up I think 10 or 12 sacks last year. And he's getting 20 million plus. So, yeah, we don't really have a reason to fear that. I think if Josh Allen or Trayvon Walker can't tear him up, then they don't deserve to be on the team anymore. I'm just saying. So again, to me, that's a team that didn't build its offensive line very well and is now having to overpay for guys. Tennessee did end up giving Kevin Zeitler the deal that I suggested we give him, the 1 year, $9 million deal. Well, I suggested signing him to even more and for a multi-year deal. But it looks like Kevin Zeitler's in that stage of his career where he's just kind of going from team to team on 1 year deals, kind of winding down his career. And I think that should have been us this year. Because again, we could have got a guard who could, step in and learn and eventually take over that spot. Right. So, but like I said, I like Patrick McCarry because it kind of solidifies that spot. He can grow with us. And again, he is a good player for the Ravens. So I like who we ended up getting instead. And then the Titans didn't make any moves at quarterback. I don't think they made any more notable moves. Christian Fulton had already left them, I believe. So nothing really expansive to report on. It just kind of seems like they're going to end up replacing. It's really hard to know what the Titans are going to do because they could give Will Levis one more chance and just take Travis Hunter, who's a player they kind of desperately need because it would give them another weapon for Will Levis for another chance, another year. And it would give them a cornerback who they also need because they lost a lot of their cornerbacks. But they're also in a great position. It's almost like we want the Titans to sign a quarterback. So we kind of want them to bring in either a Russell Wilson who's still available. And that's why the other quarterbacks who ended up going to different teams kind of matters for us too. Because right now the only team without a surefire starting quarterback are the Giants, Browns, Steelers, and Titans. Because Justin Fields went to the Jets, of course. No one knows where Aaron Rodgers is going to go. So maybe Aaron Rodgers will end up going to the Steelers. And then, of course, the Seahawks signed Sam Darnold after trading Geno Smith to the Raiders, which means the Raiders probably won't be trading up to get a quarterback because they just traded for Geno Smith for a third-round pick. So they'll probably ride with him for another year or two, and they'll probably end up taking that receiver that's been McMillan, who's been really good. So, again, that's why all those chips kind of have to fall into place so that way you know exactly what's going on. And so for the Titans, the only viable starters out there right now is probably Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers, and it doesn't look like they're making a move for either of them. If they did, then I could bet money that they would probably end up taking Abdul Carter. But the Titans kind of know that defense hasn't really been their issue, but a lot of people view Abdul Carter as a generational prospect. And if the Titans had him, and again, they just got rid of Harold Landry, who got signed by the Patriots. So that would be a pretty telltale sign that the Titans are going to go. That would be a pretty telltale. Again, the Titans kind of need Travis Hunter just as much as they would need Abdul Carter or a quarterback. So there's kind of no way to tell unless they bring in a quarterback to compete with Will Levis. But from all signs right now, we kind of have to assume that they're going to go quarterback and take Cam Ward, which would mean, okay, so what are the Browns going to do? And the problem with the Browns is if they had traded Myles Garrett, I think we could have almost put money that they were going to end up taking Abdul Carter because I think they would have seen like, okay, we'll trade Miles Garrett, we'll get at least 2 first round picks for him, and then we will use him. Then we'll get Abdul Carter, and then we will use those picks to get our quarterback of the future next year because they already traded for Kenny Pickett. Because right now, I could see the Browns going for Shadur Sanders, right? Or especially with their cap situation, grab a quarterback while you're up there this high, let him sit. Cycle through the Deshaun Watson, Kenny Pickett, whatever rodeo you want to do. Maybe you could just bench Deshaun Watson, let Kenny Pickett play this year, and then let your rookie quarterback take over next year. Which I mean, letting your rookie quarterback sit worked out for the Chiefs pretty well, right? Um, but also, there's a good chance that they could just take Travis Hunter, so they have another weapon and another cornerback opposite Denzel Ward, because Denzel Ward didn't have the greatest season last year, and their defense has been good. The defense was one of the top in the league, last year and coming into this year. But they could see Travis Hunter as a weapon to help take them to the next level. With them having Jerry Judy, I don't see them as really needing a Travis Hunter type. And, maybe they could still take Abdul Carter to put on the edge opposite Miles Garrett because they don't really have anyone playing in that spot. But with Miles Garrett being so good, I don't think they see the need for them to take another edge. I think more than likely they're going to convince themselves we need another receiving threat because they don't have Amari Cooper anymore. They don't have Amari Cooper. All they have is Jerry Judy, and he played really well with Jameis Winston. Like he played like a number one, but I think they're going to see the need to put more weapons around him. And again, based upon the deals that they made, they haven't done anything. So it kind of makes all these teams like a threat to take um, Travis Hunter or a quarterback. And so if they both take a quarterback, say the Titans take Cam Ward and the Browns take Shadur Sanders, the Giants, um there's no way they're not taking Travis Hunter. And I think what those top 3 teams are going to end up doing is waiting until after the draft, see who comes away with the quarterback, and then whoever doesn't is going to end up getting Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers to kind of plug the hole for a little bit until they get a little further. So, because the Giants, they signed Paulson Adebo, but Deontay Banks has not been playing very well, and they could really use a weapon to pair with Malik Neighbors. Now, I think if there was a quarterback on the board, the Giants would much rather have a rookie quarterback to bring in to play with his weapons over Travis Hunter. They would rather bring in a rookie quarterback to play with those new weapons, to play with Malik Neighbors, and I don't think they got Darius. I think they let Darius Slayton. No, they gave Darius Slayton. They kept Darius Slayton on a 3-year, $36 million deal, which is still crazy. He got the same deal that Saquon Barkley got a year ago. The Giants could have kept Saquon Barkley for the same money they ended up giving Darius Slayton. To me, that's the craziest thing I've ever heard. Now, maybe they offered him like 13 to 14 million a year, and Saquon Barkley didn't want it, and he took the deal with the Eagles because he knew, playing with a good offensive line will only increase his value. That could have happened. He may have been unwilling to give them a hometown discount, but he was like, you know what, I can take a little less to play with the Eagles because that's gonna boost my value up crazy. So they may or may not see having a Travis Hunter like as much of a need. It's hard to base what teams like need versus what they want. In a perfect world, Titans sign Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers goes to the Steelers. Titans take Abdul Carter, number 1 overall. Yeah, the Titans take Abdul Carter or number 1 overall. If they had a defensive-minded head coach, I would feel more confident about that. But with Brian Callahan, they might opt for another weapon. But again, let's say that Titans sign Russell Wilson, take Abdul Carter, Browns take Cam Ward, Giants take Shadur Sanders. Bam, right? And the reason why that would work out so great is because the Patriots, I feel pretty confident in saying they are not going to be taking Travis Hunter. I feel pretty confident in saying the Patriots will be targeting Will Campbell. I think the Patriots will be targeting Will Campbell because they signed Carlton Davis to a 3-year, $60 million deal. Now, again, having one cornerback doesn't preclude you from taking another one, but the Patriots already have Christian Gonzalez, who's their number 1 cornerback. So Christian Gonzalez is going to be playing opposite Carlton Davis. They've got some lockdown corners. They did some stuff with their O-line, but they didn't do enough. So they still need Will Campbell to come in. He can play guard, he can play tackle, he can play whatever they need. Um, they still need a spot and they still need to bring him in. So I think that's their target. I don't think the Patriots, there's a way the Patriots take anyone other than Will Campbell. So there is a way that Travis Hunter falls to us, the Jaguars. But it just there's like so many factors that go into whether it'll end up happening. And it's just so hard to like, fathom or anything like that. Now I could also see the Giants like trying to trade up with the Titans to go take their quarterback. It would probably cost them their first round pick next year. And Tennessee could look at taking Will Campbell, to fix their own offensive line. Because I think they still have one or two holes left to plug on it. And if they do that, I don't know if the Patriots would just say, screw it, let's just go get Travis Hunter, or if they'd be willing to trade down or take another offensive lineman. I think the Patriots are looking towards offensive linemen in this draft because while they didn't really go out and get a top flight weapon for Drake May, to me, if they had gotten a top flight weapon, that would have really signified that they're not taking Travis Hunter. But because they have two cornerbacks, I don't think they would take Travis Hunter, because I think he's better as a defensive back than he is a wide receiver. Now, if the Patriots just say, like, hey, we need another wide receiver, he's right there. Like, to me, if you just want a wide receiver, you would take that McMillan kid. So there is a chance that the Patriots, let's say the Giants trade with the Giants trade with the Titans, take Cam Ward, the Browns take Shadur Sanders, and the Titans take Will Campbell. The Patriots could take the McMillan kid. He's that good. I think he's a better receiver than Travis Hunter. He just doesn't play cornerback as well. So I could see the Patriots taking that McMillan kid, and the Jaguars end up with Travis Hunter, which could also work. It's such a log jam of stuff happening. But so we will see. But overall, I didn't even get to talk about my favorite move of free agency. My favorite move of free agency has to be Daniel Jones getting $14 million to compete with Anthony Richardson. So the Colts made some moves. I think they signed a cornerback to a pretty big deal and stuff like that. But to me, that move, that's got to be my favorite. I mean, that was amazing because it's like Daniel Jones, really? Like that's the best competition they could bring in. Like to me, they should have brought in like Russell Wilson, like that. But Daniel Jones, and I guess they're very similar style quarterbacks. So whoever wins, either way, still nothing to fear in the quarterback department for the Colts. So the Jaguars can feel good about that. The Texans ended up they didn't really do that much. I still don't really understand why we traded Christian Kirk to the Texans. Like maybe he could have signed with them, sure, but I'm also like for a 2026 seventh round pick, I think I would just rather them not have him. Like by the time I released the news that he got released, he ended up being traded to the Texans. So, yeah, I guess we'll see about that too. I think he'll end up being pretty good for the Texans because he can play inside and out. Tank Dell is still out, and they didn't end up re-signing Stephon Diggs. Now, that is a name to watch for because if the Patriots sign Stephon Diggs, which I could see happening, or Amari Cooper, either one of those guys, I think that's like the nail in the coffin. Okay, Travis Hunter won't be going there. Also, like I said, look forward to see if the Browns sign Amari Cooper. That would be funny. But a lot of those top receivers that have been out there haven't really got signed or haven't got looked at yet. So I would be curious to see if the Titans sign Stephon Diggs, which I could see happening, division rival kind of thing. Or if the Browns maybe end up signing Stephon Diggs or somebody else. But again, the Browns still have a lot of cap space to play with. So, and the Browns definitely they kind of need to take a quarterback because it's going to be a lot harder for them to sign one. So that's why they might be leaning towards, okay, let's just take a rookie. But again, they could also just be like, well, this is going to be a down year and we'll just have to rebuild. So there's so many factors to play. Again, to me, if I was the Jaguars, I would have planned on taking a cornerback, and hoped that it was Travis Hunter, but been prepared if it was Will Johnson and still be okay. So let me know your thoughts on our free agency moves of our rivals and the other teams throughout the NFL. It was a very interesting class this year for free agency, but definitely let me know your thoughts and what you think is going to happen and how it will affect the draft. I would love to say that this has made it more clear, but it really hasn't. The only thing I can say is that because the Giants didn't end up signing a quarterback and it doesn't really look like they're going to, until the Giants sign a quarterback, I think quarterback is the number one priority for them. You got to have someone throwing the ball to the players. Like, it's just that simple. So I think they're going to try to target a quarterback in the draft, but they're at third, so they don't really have control over that. Patriots, I do believe, are kind of out of the Travis Hunter sweepstakes. But like I said, mock drafts everywhere have the Titans and the Browns. So you never know. So let me know your thoughts and if you think who we're going to end up getting in the draft and how this affects everything. And never forget, guys, it was always the Jags.